Pastor Moriel, invite you to Brooklyn House. My name is John Williams. Today I'll be your MC. I'm going to turn this back on a little bit. Today is Coach Disco's first Voice of Reasons, Youth and Young Adults Motivational Seminar. Let's give a big hand for that. I really appreciate him doing this because our youth need to be motivated. Everybody tell them what they can't do. It's time for somebody to tell them what they can do. And the crazy thing is, I told this man, I'm not going to stay too long because you got to get speakers for that. But I set up a seminar this past week. We got a school program at our house. And one of the things they were saying is, everybody keeps telling our kids what they can't do. Nobody talks to them about what they can do. And so this year I'm going to inspire our kids to be the best they can be. That's why the song, everybody said I'm stuck on this song. The person I like, the young folks, look it up. Parents, look at the words of this song. It's called Am I Alone by Nico and Vince. The song's talking about how, don't worry about where you come from. You can be the best you can be. Everybody tell you what you can do. Forget that. Don't listen to what they're telling you. If you believe in your heart, you work hard at it. You just can't say, oh, I want to be a ball player. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a doctor. Sit at home like this. No books open, no studying, no nothing. It's hard work. But the song kind of inspires you in the same sense. So, on that note, by inspiration, I want to do this first guest speaker. It's going to be Hector Roman. Hector, his real name is Hector Roman. He was born in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and he was raised where he was born and raised, and he moved to Atlanta 9 years ago. He didn't give me a whole lot about his story. He said he's been employed with CCT, where he's now leading the company safety committee. Now, Hector told me to tell you about his story, he's going to tell you himself. But I did find out Hector came from Katrina. Now, that's a story in itself. I say it because I'm a native Louisiana. And my family was caught it coming through Katrina. I was here already, thank God, but you know what that was like. So anybody come through that and they have a positive story to say, that's an inspiration just in itself. So without further ado, Hector Roman. Thank you, sir.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
Welcome. First, I want to thank Coach Disco for inviting me to be a speaker today. We work together at CCT. Like the MC was saying, we have to be there for our kids, and as the kids, there's no quit. And when I was training Coach Disco, there was times he would get discouraged. But I was like, tough it out, tough it out, tough it out. And almost 2 years later, he's still employed with us. And that's what I'm here to do today, to try to encourage y'all. Because I was y'all at one time. A troubled youth, hard-headed, running with the wrong crowd, stayed in trouble. A little bit about myself. Like you said, I'm born and raised in Bridgeport, Connecticut, the youngest of 12 kids. Grew up in the housing projects. I'm public assistance. Dirt poor. I'm not going to sugarcoat my story. But being the youngest of 12, I was the problem child. I'm the one that gave my mama and the rest of my family the most grief. And I'm here to share my story with y'all as far as the things that most of you are probably going through today. You may be able to relate to my story. Raised by a single mama. Father deserted us when I was in her stomach. And most of my struggles was not having that male role model. In my life to guide me. And I spent most of my young years and my teen years angry, mad at the world, because I couldn't understand why. And so that led me into my teen years, and that led me into acting out. I mean, really, really bad. When I was in elementary school, from kindergarten to the 6th grade, I stayed on the honor roll. A good kid. Teacher's pet. Every year that I was in from first, second, third, fourth, I was always the teacher's pet. Until towards the middle of my 6th grade year, that's when it all went south. It was about 3 days before Christmas, and we received a phone call. And all I heard was my mom crying. And I was like, Mom, what's going on? I was 11 years old. All I heard them say was my father got killed. And that's when my whole world just pretty much caved in. From that point on, that's when I started acting out. I mean, I really became a discipline problem, hard-headed, disrespectful, didn't want to listen to my teachers. I really didn't care because I felt cheap. Because it's bad enough my father wasn't there for us, but then to get that news, so I just started acting out. Started in middle school, being disrespectful, not doing my homework, talking back to the teachers, being rude and disrespectful. But I made it through the 8th grade, got into high school. I did great my freshman year, but by my sophomore year, I was out of control. Cutting class, skipping school. I'm not sugarcoating my story. Drinking, smoking, getting high, chasing girls, just a juvenile delinquent. Didn't want to listen to my mama, didn't want to listen to my teachers, didn't want to listen to nobody. I thought I had all the answers. That led me to becoming a father in my junior year, going into my senior year. I ended up dropping out of high school to try to do the right thing because I wanted to break that cycle that my father created. So I quit school to work and be there for my son's mother and for my son. And from that point on, I tried to get my life on track, but it ended up getting worse. But the reason I'm sharing that with y'all is because if I would have listened to my mama and my sisters and my brothers, I would have never been in that predicament. But the day I told my mama my girlfriend was pregnant, my mama said, you're going to take care of that baby. I don't care what you got to do. And it was a struggle, and it was hard. But I ended up going back to school, getting myself together. I ended up going back to school that night. I got my diploma. graduated cap and gown. From that point on, I still struggle with not having my father in my life. And then I started making even worse choices. I started partying, just doing worse things. And from that point on, the smoking of weed led to stronger stuff. And I ended up getting messed up for about 2 years. I'm not sugarcoating my story. I want y'all to know, this is not no game. For 2 years, I was messed up. And then my son started getting older. And once he got about 4 or 5, I saw him mimicking everything I was doing. And I said to myself, if I don't get myself together, I'm going to be repeating history. I said, he's going to be exactly what I am. And that's when I turned my life around at the age of 23. I stopped getting high, stopped being disrespectful. I left it all behind. I turned my life around. I did a 360. As I stand before y'all today, I stand here 26 years, drug-free. And I have not ever looked back. From that point on, I said, I got to get my life on track. Because this boy is going to be me. 10 or 15 years from now, if I don't get myself together. And that's when I eventually got hired out with the school bus company. That was my start. From that point on, just like the MC said, I don't care if you're a burger flipper. Be the best burger flipper. And a lot of my friends ridiculed me, and they made me feel bad. Oh, look at him driving the bus when he could be out here hustling with us. But one thing I didn't give into was peer pressure. And you can't give in to peer pressure. And I stood my ground, and eventually from that point on, they ended up sending me to school, to Southern Connecticut State University to get my bus certification in safety and training. From there I went into transit, ended up training up under some of the best safety and training consultants in the country. From there, I ended up starting their safety and training program. From there, I ended up moving to New Orleans. I ended up switching careers. I went into the hotel industry, but like they said, I was in Hurricane Katrina. One day, I went to bed, I had everything. I had a wardrobe full of clothes, a nice apartment, a nice car. I had a good job. The next day I woke up, I didn't have nothing. I was homeless that instant. And I'm sharing that story with y'all because some of y'all got mamas and daddies that's trying their hardest, that may not be able to give you everything you want, but they're giving you love. If not, you won't be in this auditorium today. They're that concerned about you. They love y'all. Love and respect your mamas, your daddies, your grandmothers, your aunties, whoever's raising you, whoever's putting a roof over your head. Trust them. Don't trust your friends because they want what's best for you. They are not ever going to steer you wrong. And don't think you're not going to need them one day. Because when you get in trouble like I did, the first thing I was screaming, Mommy! Like a 5-year-old, I want my mom.